You think about her every single day, and she doesn't even text you. She doesn't call, she doesn't reach out, but somehow she lives in your head. Rentrée. Let me tell you what that means. Before we go further, if this hits you differently, if you feel something shift, subscribe to this channel. Not because I need you to, but because you need reminders like this. You need truth, not comfort. Now let's talk about it. If she's always in your mind without any communication, it means you've given her a place she didn't earn. That's the first truth. She's not thinking about you, not the way you're thinking about her. Because if she was, you'd know. Women communicate. They reach out. They make the power of emotional connection it clear when they care. Silence isn't mystery, it's an answer. And the answer is no. Not maybe, not later, just no. But you don't want to accept that. So you create stories. You tell yourself, she's busy, she's going through something, she's scared of her. Feelings. None of that is true. She's just not interested. And that's okay. What's not okay is you building a relationship in your mind with someone who isn't even present in your life. That's called fantasy. And fantasy keeps you stuck. It keeps you weak. It keeps you waiting for something that will never come. You're not in love with her. You're in love with the idea of her, the version you created, the one that doesn't exist. Real love requires presence. It requires effort from both sides. It requires communication, mutual investment, shared reality. None of that. When feelings remain unfinished is happening here. You're doing all the work in your own head while she's out there living her life, completely unaware, or worse, completely aware and unbothered. So, what does it really mean? It means you don't value your own attention. You don't guard your mental space. You let anyone walk into your mind and set up camp even when they don't deserve to be there. Your thoughts are valuable. Your energy is finite, and you're spending it on someone who wouldn't spend a second on you. That's not romantic. That's self-abandonment. Let's go deeper. Why does this happen? Why do men obsess over women who ignore them? It's not about her. It's about you. It's about what you lack. Purpose, mission, self-respect. When a man has nothing driving him, when he has no goals bigger than himself, he fills that void with a woman. He makes her the psychology behind constant thought center, the meaning, the reason he wakes up. And that's the most unattractive thing you can do because women don't want to be your purpose. They want to join a man who already has one. They're drawn to direction, to focus, to a man who's building something, not waiting for someone. When you obsess over her, you're telling the universe and you're telling her that you have nothing else going on, that your life is empty without her. And emptiness repels. It doesn't attract. She can feel it even from a distance. She can sense the weight you're putting on her, the expectation, the fantasy, and it pushes her further away because no one wants that pressure. No one wants to be someone's entire world, especially when they didn't sign up for it. Here's what most men don't understand. Attraction isn't about availability. It's about the silent bond between two people value. And value is demonstrated through scarcity, through priority, through self-investment. When you're always thinking about her, you become abundant to her, even if she never hears from you, because your energy is leaked, your focus is scattered. And on some level, she knows women have intuition. They can feel when a man is too available, too eager, too focused on them, and it kills attraction, not because they're cruel, but because it signals low value. A high-value man doesn't have time to obsess. He's too busy building, creating, improving, living. He thinks about his goals, his health, his future, his legacy. A woman might cross his mind, but she doesn't live there. She doesn't own his mental real estate because he owns it and he's selective about what he allows in. That's the difference. That's the shift you need to make. Stop giving when distance doesn't break. Connection away your mind to people who don't invest in you, to people who don't communicate, to people who aren't present. Your attention is sacred. Treat it that way. Now let's talk about the pain because I know it hurts. I know it feels real. The longing, the wondering, the imagining. What if she reached out? What if she changed her mind? What if this time it's different? It won't be because the pattern is already set. She's shown you who she is. Believe her. Not the version you want her to be, the version she actually is. And that version doesn't care enough to communicate, doesn't care enough to make effort, doesn't care enough to choose you. And that's the truth you're avoiding. You're holding on because letting go feels like losing. But you can't lose something you never had. You're grieving a ghost, a projection, a fantasy you created to fill a void. And the longer you hold on, the deeper that void gets because you're not filling it with real things, real progress, real relationships, real self-worth. Your life lessons hidden in memories, filling it with hope. False hope and hope without action is just procrastination. It's delay, it's avoidance. It's you refusing to face the fact that you need to move on. So, here's what you do. You stop. You stop checking her social media. You stop replaying old conversations. You stop wondering what she's doing, who she's with, what she's thinking. None of that matters because she's not thinking about you. And even if she is, she's not doing anything about it, which means it's irrelevant. You redirect that energy into your body, into your work, into your goals, into the people who actually show up for you. You build a life so full that there's no room for ghosts, no room for fantasies, no room for people who don't communicate. You become so focused on your mission that women become a bonus, not the goal. And when that happens, everything changes because you stop chasing, you stop waiting, you stop hoping, you start living. And living men attract. They don't beg. They signs you shared something real, don't obsess. They don't fill their mind with people who don't fill their life. They choose themselves every single time, not out of ego, but out of self-respect. And self-respect is magnetic. It draws the right people in, and it keeps the wrong people out. So, if she's always in your mind without any communication, it means you've forgotten who you are, you've forgotten your worth, you've forgotten that you deserve presence, not silence, effort, not absence, reciprocity, not one-sided longing. And the moment you remember that is the moment you set yourself free, not from her, but from the version of yourself that thought she was the answer. She's not. You are. Your growth is the answer. Your purpose is the answer. Your commitment to becoming better, that's the answer. Everything else is noise. Let's be clear about something. This isn't about being cold or shutting down emotionally or pretending you don't care. It's about accepting what you cannot control, being honest with yourself about what's actually happening. She's not in your life, she's in your head. And those are two very different things. One is real, one is imaginary. And you can't build a future on imagination. You have to build it on reality, on actions, on people who show up, on communication that exists, not communication you wish existed. This is about reclaiming your power, your focus, your mental clarity. Because right now, you're giving it all away to someone who didn't ask for it, doesn't want it, and won't do anything with it. That's not love, that's self-destruction. And you're better than that. You're capable of more, you're worthy of more, but you won't experience more until you let go of less. And she is less. Not because she's a bad person, but because she's not your person. Your person communicates. Your person shows up. Your person makes it clear. There's turning pain into personal growth, no confusion, no silence, no guessing, just presence. And until you find that, you stay focused on you, on building, on growing, on becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to obsess because he's already whole. He's already enough. He's already living a life worth living with or without her. And that's freedom. Real freedom. Not the kind that comes from her texting you back, but the kind that comes from you finally texting yourself back, finally checking in on your own needs, your own dreams, your own progress. That's where the power is, not in her response, in your own. So respond to yourself, choose yourself, invest in yourself, build for yourself, and watch what happens. Watch how your life transforms. Watch how your energy shifts. Watch how the right people start showing up because you're no longer available for the wrong ones. You've closed the door on fantasies, on the final truth about emotional connections, silence, on one-sided connections, and you've opened the door to reality, to respect, to real love, the kind that's mutual, the kind that's present, the kind that doesn't require you to beg for attention or wonder if you matter because you already know you matter. And anyone who's meant to be in your life will know it too. They'll show it through their actions, through their words, through their presence, not their absence. That's the standard. That's the bar. And you don't lower it. Not for anyone. Not even her. Especially not her. Because lowering your standards doesn't make you humble. It